I'm about to start sewing vintage McCalls pattern 7841, and I will be doing dress H. I will be doing it without the ruffles, and I'm using a very old vintage material which came out of a dress just recently purchased, and it is extremely limited. So here is how it looks on Blythe. Very cute. I did one ruffle, and I am taking this from, I'm taking it from a dress, and particularly I took it from a sleeve, and let me show you what it looks like. I was just making sure that my volume was up. So this is the sleeve, and it was like a 3/4. I cut the dress, and this is all I have left. The sleeve, as you can see here, a little bit totally chopped off from that side, and that's it. This is probably like 4 by 5 inches, and whatever is at the top. So when I buy people clothes, it's really not a lot of material. I'm buying it because of the beautiful flower power, the bubblegum pink, the fabulous designs, and just totally the retro look. I really do want to sew for dolls and bring what the dresses were back in the day, back in the 60s. So that's what I'm recreating when I purchase and sell. So here is what the pattern looks like. Yes, right here you can see this is pattern H. And you're going to put this on top of the fabric. I cut it on a fold. It's so much easier. And here is my copy of the pattern. You can see here that the snaps is there. Most importantly, one thing to look at for this pattern are these dots that you have here. These dots are going to indicate what you're going to sew for the sleeve. And it's actually such an adorable, cute little sleeve. You see that? There is no sewing here on the shoulder. It's just wraps around, and it just gives you this adorable little look. So this dress is listed. It's cross-listed at all my shops, which are Ko-fi, eBay, and Mercari. And I also have their kerchief, which is some here. Probably Blythe's big head just probably moved it. So let's get started. I'm going to give you a look at what I'm going to be sewing. McCalls 7841, this dress. So for all the people that are just joining, we're going to be sewing the dress without the ruffles, and the reason why is because I'm using vintage fabric, and I just barely have enough. I just used up in 2 dresses. I just used up the sleeve from the dress. And here's the pattern, what the pattern looks like. I didn't get the original, and sorry, it's trash day. So here is the kerchief, and I think it fell, yeah, it's right over here. And this is the finished product. I am going to be using baby rickrack to show you, and here are the snaps. So let me get Skipper. Let me show you what the kerchief looks like. It's really darling. And if you look at my shop, I already put it on Francie. It looks so cute on her. And of course, it won't fit Blythe. So moving Skipper along and making sure my orientation is good, and we're going to get started. So let's start with the easiest thing. I'm going to sew this along and then put the rickrack, and the reason why is because if you don't do it, it's going to be too big, and the rickrack is going to be kind of wonky. So there is the pattern right here. And then we're going to start with the dress. So first thing is just, and this is cotton. You see that, how I just did that? Basically this type of vintage cotton. Cotton nowadays has a mixture of different fibers, mostly polyester. So that's going to take effect if you try to do that now. So just do a very quick, easy sewing. And I'm also watching this so that I can get the best lighting. I am in a new, let me see here. I am in a new location, and that's the reason why I had not been doing videos or live. I've moved everything around. I moved away from the window. And the reason why is because I put my bed by the window. It's getting so hot, and I really needed that, the cool breeze at night, and let go of using so much electricity on having the fan on. So it's much nicer, different look in my room. Excuse me. So I'm checking the lighting too. There we go. I think that's better. So I am keeping an eye on the lighting and changing. It's let's see here. And this is baby rickrack. You see that? So I'm sewing it at the tip, and then we're going to fold it over. So it is really tiny. I have the camera right in front of my face. So I'm basically somewhat sewing blind, and I just realized, let me see. Okay, I thought I wanted to make sure that I'm not getting the already sewn in hem. So I'm going to sew this and then kind of like fold it back so that I can sew on top of it. And the reason why you want to do this is so that you can see the little rickrack so it doesn't fold over. Over time, any fabric will fold over, and you want to get to see this tiny little detail. So sewing usually takes about an hour. That's pretty quick, so hopefully, excuse me, this is going to be brief. And I'm sewing over like layer and layer of material, so that's why the machine kind of stalls there. And I'm going to be helping it along the way. So there we go. After this is sewn, if you do this, you can take the thread ripper and take that away. But I don't think it's going to be too big of a problem or too big of a, you know, of an eyesore. We already are going to have a line, a seam, and this is going to be going to the side, or, you know, to the bottom of the chin. Okay, so that was rows and rows of fabric and the rickrack. So there we go. Isn't that so darling? I just love vintage fabric. So beautiful. So now that we did that, when we sew over here with the rickrack and we go like this, it's going to have this little raw area open, and it's okay. This is what it looks like. One is going to overlap, and if you want, it's barely going to fit in and out. So that's okay. So I'm going to sew this right on the fabric, and I'm going to do it right there. I'm going to give myself about 1/4 of an inch, and then when we fold it, the main thing is that I want to be close right here. When we fold it, it's going to be raw. I'm going to sew it and then fold it and go over. It's better because you don't want, oops, you don't want a cut to start fraying, especially at the tip. So this is the sewing, and it's always good because it's thick to get the back and then help the sewing machine continue. And see how I'm moving this over? I'm doing this so that I can see that I have material to sew on and rickrack to sew on. So this part right here is not always going to be perfect because of the little movement or design movement of the rickrack. So it's going to be kind of like a little rounded. So now that I'm over here, I'm going to cut this. And then finish this off. See how it moves? Where is my thread ripper? Oh, here it is. So this is because it is thick. This is very thick little trim, this little rickrack, and it's so tiny. So we're at the end. Maybe I shouldn't have cut it. There we go. So that's the end. So now that we have that there, we're going to fold it over and set it in place, because again, it will fold. We want to be able to see this. Basically sew it to placement. Make sure that that little tip stays where it needs to stay. And in the stores, you will find some rickrack. I have not been able to see little tiny one. This, you find it at the secondary market, being sold by people. So I think I made a video where I said I was going to search for it, and I did, and I found it. I found this one right here that I'm using. Okay, so there's the piece right here. So there is the kerchief. So all you have to do now is put the snap here and here, or whichever way. And let's get Skipper. This is the one that's already been finished. I'm not going to put the snap because that's going to take a while. So let's look to see. It has plenty of room. I mean, the pattern, you saw it raw. It has plenty of room if you don't like the edge for you to fold it and baste it, and that way you have a nice little ending. So moving along, we're going to get started with the dress. Here is our cut piece. And what you can do, if you're going to be doing this, you don't want to do it on the original pattern. Cut yourself a little corner in the material. I'm doing this with my tissue pattern. Cut yourself a little area like I just did, indication. This is where you're going to sew, and when you close it, you're going to see I'm going to sew it from right there, because the dress is going to be tight. According to this, it's going to be tight around the little armpits. So I'm going to take all these pins out, fold the fabric, and do it on the, see how we have remnants of the people clothes right here? I got this somewhat around from the hem. But you can see how gorgeous, how bright this fabric is. Festival dresses were only worn, I would assume, just for the festival. And they are in really, this one is in really great condition. But if you're going to be buying, you're going to be looking to see what the condition of the fabric is. So that's another thing that I look at when I buy these. Okay, there is my indication. I'm doing this as on a fold. And right here. And it's okay. You can do this and cut this little piece out, because when you sew it together, you're going to take more room than this little opening. So that is this right here. So when you fold it, this right here is going to be your little armhole right there. So let's get going with the dress and let's see it taking form. So here are the two pieces. We're going to fold it over, and when I sew it, I'm going to sew it from here. So just an additional quarter, an additional quarter of sewing is recommended by me. If you do it along the lines, it's going to be really tight around your skipper's little arms. But go ahead and give it a try. I already did. I prefer it this way, and you'll see it in a moment. So there's my little area, and I'm just taking just a little bit more. Later on, out of cotton material or material, it's better to do it out of cotton, because anything else, what do we have? We have polyester, which is really rough and heavy, and other materials that are not suitable for doing the piping. And the reason why people would want to use something like stretch knit is because you want it to be moving like that. So here is the design of the pattern. You need to cut it right there. Right here, I haven't done it yet, so cut it. And I'm going to do some easement, and let me show you why. This is the material now, and it doesn't bend. You need it to be loose around so that you can sew around. So we're going to be doing the little clippings. And by the way, this is a very easy design, and I'm going on this tutorial for as if you are brand new to sewing, brand new to doll patterns. So now look what I did. I cut it, and see how you have, if you go back, you can see what we just did. So the next thing that I said I was going to help or show, here is some cotton fabric. You see that? You can't, it does not stretch. But if you go across in the middle, and let's go back here. If you go across it right here, look what happens. I'll keep it there. Cotton does not stretch. But if you go across, you see that gap there? This is what you want to use when you want to do piping. This part right here. So what I'm going to do is fold it in the middle, and then just go ahead and fold it again. And the reason why you want to do this is so that you can cut a straight line. Okay. It doesn't matter. You want to cut along this part right here. See that? You want to make sure you're doing the right thing. And cut it where it is more stretchy. So you get the scissors right here and you just cut along. I'm going to be using this for the folding over, or what they call the piping, or the piping fold, whatever you want to call it. That's my little girl, my little dog. So now what I'm going to do, next thing, it's a lot easier to do it this way instead of cutting it into a small little piece. This is going to be the bottom part of your piping. You can definitely buy these, but the piping is a lot wider. It's for people, and you just need a little bit for the neck or any other project in your doll clothes. All right, so now that I sewed this, you see that? Now that I sewed it, I'm going to cut it into about 1/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to take this out of the dress that's already been sewn. Let's take this out of Blythe. I'm going to take it out completely because I want to show you what it looks like. We're going to be doing this part right here. It's a lot nicer and cleaner, and if you get used to doing this, I would recommend it instead of just doing the raw fold. This dress is made raw, and when I say raw, I just sew it. See that? I didn't use the serger on it, and that's because this is a good cotton and it's not going to be falling apart. It's not going to be threading. So I'm going to sew or cut this about 1/4 of an inch, and that's all you need. So I'm just eyeballing it. I didn't do anything else. I'm just going and cutting this. There we go. So here's our piece. Here's our leftover piece. So I'm going to be sewing this and sewing and cutting and sewing and cutting until we're down to this. I just brought that one piece to be able to show you. So now we're going to put this on the outside. Your piping, you want this part to be touching the fabric so that when you fold it out, you're going to be having this look right here. You see that? You're having it so it looks like that. So when you're sewing it, you want this part to be facing your eyes. So let's put it to the edge and just sew along. I'm using the edge of my sewer foot, which is very thin compared to the other sewing foot. This is almost like the sewer foot for putting zippers on. It's very thin. So you're going to do this carefully. You're not in a race, so there is no rush, no hurry. So this part on the neck, whether it be putting the piping, or if you're putting collar, or you're folding it with something else, it's always recommended just to take your time. You want to be hugging the fabric, and this is going to guarantee that you have a perfect little circle, because you're always going to be looking at the neck. And if it's wonky or crooked, you're always going to see it. So this is the hardest part of the dress, whether it be Skipper or Barbie, the neck or for Barbie, the hardest thing to do or time consuming are the bust darts. So there we go. We just did the hardest thing. And that's what it looks like. If you want to keep it as a little turtleneck, you can go ahead and do that. But this is going to be sewn back. So now that I have this done, I want to see, do I have enough movement? So I'm going to clip it all the way down right before the sewing line right there, and that's going to allow me to move it so much easier. There. So that's what it looks like there. There's a little bit of a gather there, but we're going to massage that out. So there we go. If you look at it from behind, you have a better look to make sure that it's even and uniformed. You can go ahead and cut this out. Let's go ahead and do it right now. And you still want to clip it all the way to the end. Even though I'm going to clip this here on the top, you still want to clip it all the way, because what matters is that you're going to have the easement all the way to the stitching. Okay, so let's take this out. And now we're going to sew this on a fold. And you want to bring it down so that you can see a little bit of the fabric, because if you don't, you're going to see a little bit of the white. So I don't want to see that much of it. Sometimes it's you can't help it, but I'm going to try. Sometimes you'll see the tip of it. If I would have done it out of the same fabric, that would have been a good camouflage, but I don't have enough of the fabric. So let's get going with this. My dog has given me 28 minutes of her time, and she already needs me. Oh, see? She's being demanding now. So she's going to be singing to us. I hope that's okay with you. Lily, hold on, babe. She's going to be singing, serenading us. Her little nudge that she needs her mommy time. I just fed her too. That's her little nudging. So this dress is going to be a little bit different than the other one. I am not going to put the ruffles, but I will put baby rickrack. So let me see here. Going to massage this part right here. Oh, here we go. But in the camera, I'm going to massage it. That's how you massage. You just move it along. So there it is. That is the front. Let me get rid of this. So here is the clip, and that's my extra sewing. And I'm going to be matching the bottom, because that is the way the pattern is made. So matching the bottom there is going to help you. So let's fold this as it is. I'm going to put the flap out and this one out, because I want to get here to this little area. So let's take a good look, and then you'll get to see it. So I'm going to sew right there, right behind. Like it's almost like right behind the ear. Right there. And this is why I sewed a little bit over to make sure that it's folded. So let's take a look at what that looks like. And this is the finish that you're going to be getting. See that? Otherwise, you would have like a little opening. So I'm going to do the other one. And we are almost done with this beautiful new little mod dress for Skipper. It does fit Francie. This is the edge of the material because, again, that's all I had. But it's okay because we're going to sew it right there. So I'm going to, there we go, match it in there. So in essence, what I'm doing is I'm sewing right at the tip, right there. And again, this is what we have. Nice, clean little finish. I'm going to be careful not to cut the material. So here's the dress. Of course, this is vintage people dress, and we have the natural hold. What I'm going to do right now is sew it, sew along the edge. It's going to help me as the ruler for the rickrack, and it's going to help me kind of give it a little bit more of, this was actually, I think, I don't know, I think it's part of the upper sleeve. And I went ahead and did it because the edges are always going to be the end and clipped off. So I'm going to match it to make sure that I am even. Yep, right there. That I am even. So now I'm going to put the rickrack on the bottom. It's going to be a short little dress. Here is Skipper. These are the socks that I made for Lulu. Those are the socks that I made for Francie. They fit her right below the dress, and of course Skipper is little. It's going to be almost like her wearing tights. So this is going to be a very cute Shirley Temple dress. I call it Shirley Temple because it's going to end right at the tip of her fingers. Adorable little dress. And we're going to have the baby rickrack at the end instead of the fabric. Because again, it's vintage and extremely limited. So let's see how this turns out with the rickrack. And of course, I'm going to press it. So this is going to be a 30-minute sewing. How nice for you to sew and have a dress in 30 minutes. Of course, I did have, see how I said I was going to use this as my ruler? It's right there. So I am going to be using that as a ruler. And it's going to be folded once we're done. Let's do this now. So as I am nearing the end of this tutorial, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. There's going to be more sewing tutorials with official vintage patterns. Some that you might have or you may want to buy. I know that there are sellers out there that are making copies and making it available and affordable for all. Since I'm not affiliated with anybody, I'm not going to be naming names, but you'll be able to find them. You'll be able to find them, buy them, either download or have them shipped to you. I mean, I do have a lot of antique vintage patterns. It's not what I do. I don't scan and sell. So it's not me getting the the sale of those patterns. So let's finish this and get that cute little bottom. I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe I will, but later, but I'd rather do things right. I just don't have the time to do that part of the business. So there is the bottom, the adorable, cute little bottom. Again, there's a fabulous bubblegum pink color. And I'm going to do the same right here. I'm going to do the sewing, and then it's going to be an additional fold. There. Oh, no. I just lost my thread. That's what I wanted to do for you. So it's going to take us just a little bit more. I was just going to say that she stopped. Oh no, look what's going on. Hey baby girl. I'm right here. I think she has water. She just ate. Oh my goodness. So many telemarketers out there. And I did not put it on Do Not Disturb. Obviously. So let's do this. Finish this off and try this on Skipper. Check out my shops. I will be putting a few Skippers for sale. When I mean a few, I think I'm going to be putting 20 of all rarities, TLC, making sure the price point is there for you or for anybody. So yeah, I have them and I'm getting them. So that's okay. We're going to put a snap right there. And let's do the other side. I will close this up. I'm just doing this because it's going to minimize the de-threading for future years use down the road. If you do this, I'm doing this here with you in case you don't have a serger. I do have a serger, but I'm just going all the way. This dress would have been made back in the 60s. And I'm holding it with my finger here. So this part's going to be folded again. So that's what it looks like right here. I just took a little look, you know. I moved my head. So I'm just going to connect it here. This is why I made sure that the top and bottom match, because when you're putting your snaps, you don't want it to be wonky. So now I'm only going to give it like about an inch and a half. I'm going to end it right there because you want your doll's arms to fit. If you go all the way up, it gets harder for you to put dresses on your doll through her shoulders. So there we go. I sewed in the back. Isn't this so adorable? It's like a pillow dress. You have your beautiful backing. You can put different fabrics here. You can put polka dots. You can put stripes. Something nice to look at. Look at this adorable. And this is a perfect pattern for this dress because it's plain, it's easy, and you get to see all of the pattern. You don't want it to be gathered up. You really want to be able to enjoy the vintage art, because that's what this is, the flower power. This is just vintage art. I have seen reproduction fabrics in the mod. Yeah, I could buy that, but I really do appreciate and love the true fabrics and the true textures too, because there is no such thing as 100% cotton reproduction fabrics. I mean, I'm not dissing those people. It's just my preference, and in my preference in the look. So look how cute this is. There is Skipper. And there is that Shirley Temple look right at the tip. And we use this pattern again right here, number H. And this is what it looks like with the ruffle. One row. It actually looks like it needs two. Because it is vintage, I didn't get the instructions and I didn't get the ruffle. So I don't know how much it will need. So there we go. Let's put the other one here so you can see. And her kerchief. I'm going to tighten the camera holder. There we go. Hopefully it's not going to fall. Here's one that I just did. Needs the snaps. Here's the other one that was already pre-done. And in order for you not to struggle, all you have to do is just snap it. I don't want to be so tiny. Oh, this is like 4 millimeters here. There we go. Oops. I tried to make this smooth. It just didn't work. And put it on. Isn't this so adorable? And that's what the heaviness pulls it down. If you try to do it without the rickrack, it's going to be like that. All right, that's enough. That's enough time for me to play with dolls. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares. And don't forget to subscribe. There's more content coming up. Bye, everybody.